बच्चों, in our previous session we have discussed about the type of vector products. Okay, so let's revise it. So vector products, there are two kinds of vector products. One is dot product and the other is cross product. So we have already covered dot product, its properties and its definition, the numericals of dot product in previous lecture. So in today's lecture, what we will focus is on cross product of two vectors. So basically cross product is also a kind of multiplication of product or multiplication of vectors. Okay, and its definition is, if a bar is one vector and b bar is another vector, then a bar cross b bar is defined as a b sine of theta, where theta is angle between a and b, into n cap, where this theta is angle between a vector and b vector. Okay, this is the definition. And what is that n cap? N cap is unit vector normal to a vector, normal to plane of plane containing a vector and b vector. So this is the definition. So we'll explore this cross product first. Okay, so now let me draw the vector first. Suppose now if you look at this, a bar cross b bar is ab sin theta n cap. So there is a unit vector in the answer. It means this product will give you a vector answer. Okay, if you remember in dot product, what we got is a bar dot b bar was ab cos theta, but there was no I, j, k, n cap, any kind of unit vector in the answer. It means when we multiply two vectors using dot product, what we get as a result is a scalar quantity. This is a scalar quantity since there is no unit vector or there is no vector term in this answer. But if we consider this kind of product, cross product, a bar cross b bar, what we get is this ab sin theta multiplied by n cap. This n cap is a vector parameter. Okay, it is basically unit vector, so which gives the direction. It means this product will be another vector. Okay, and what will be direction of that vector? It is defined by this n cap. And what is the direction of n cap? N cap is unit vector normal, or we can say perpendicular to the plane containing a vector and b vector. Since we have two vector, then we can define any plane in which those two vectors lie. Let us draw the diagram to understand this. So today we will discuss the cross product in more detail. So let me give heading cross product of vectors. There is another name for this product, which is vector product. Why this name is vector product? Since we get the result as a vector. Okay, so this cross product is also called as vector product. Okay, and why it is called cross product? There is cross sign in between the two vectors. So a bar cross b bar is our ab sine of theta n cap. Okay, now let us visualize this situation. Let us say I have a plane. Now see, this is a 3D situation. Okay, so again I am drawing the 3D situation on board, which is a 2D surface. Okay, so you have to you have to imagine the situation here. Okay, so let us consider we have a table like this. Okay, and this table will behave like a plane. So we have a plane. What do I mean by plane? Let me show you. Suppose this surface of the book is our plane. Okay, and my vector a bar and b bar is in this plane. Okay, so let me draw that vector in this diagram also. So this is my a vector. Let me make the plane a little bigger. Okay, so let us draw a little bigger diagram. This is our plane. Okay, and it's a 3D plane. Okay, imagine that it is like this, and we have our first vector a vector here, second vector b vector here. Okay, so how this will look in real world, in real 3D world? This is our plane. Okay, this is our surface, and I have two vectors here. This is my first vector, this is my second vector. You can call anyone as A and anyone as B. So now look at this situation. This is my A vector, this is my B vector. Okay, so to show you, I am tilting the plane. The vectors are like this. Okay, so this is the situation which I have drawn on the board. Okay, are you getting the situation here? This is A vector, the first one is A vector, this one is A vector, and the second one, this one is B vector, which is making some angle with this first vector. Okay, so the situation is like this. Fine. So let us consider the same situation here on board. So this is my A vector. A vector. Okay, and this is my B vector. Okay, and they are in this particular plane. Let us visualize this cross product situation in a plane. Okay, so what is a plane? Let us say this notebook surface is a plane, and let's say this is my first vector, and this is my second vector, and since these are two vectors, they can lie in any particular plane. So if they are at some angle like this, so these two vectors will lie in a plane. Okay, so if you look at this situation, it is like this. So this is my plane surface. Okay, and on that surface these are the two vectors, and the same situation is drawn here. Okay, on board. So this part is a plane. Okay, this is a plane, and on this plane, this is my first vector A, this is my second vector B, and there is angle theta between these two vectors. Okay, so now the cross product of this two vector will be having magnitude. This part is magnitude. If you look at this part is magnitude, and magnitude is A B sine theta, A into B into sine of this angle. Okay, and n cap is the unit vector perpendicular to plane of these two vectors. So n cap will be a unit vector in this direction. Okay, so this is unit vector n cap. Unit vector is a vector having unit magnitude, very small magnitude. Okay, so A bar cross B bar will be a vector like this. So we can say this is A bar cross B bar vector. So in our real world, let us visualize the same situation. This is my plane, this is my A vector. Okay, this is my A vector, this is my B vector. Fine. Okay, let me show you in space. Suppose this is my A vector, this is my B vector. Okay, like this, and they are in this plane, this horizontal plane. Okay, then the resultant, let us say this is an n cap vector, this is small is n cap vector. Okay, so A bar cross B bar is AB sine theta, its magnitude is AB sine theta. So what I have to do, I have to show my vector by this AB sine theta into n cap. So this will be the cross product of these two vectors. So if you look at this situation, this one is vector, this one is vector, and their cross product is also vector. Remember that the cross product is a vector quantity. Okay, so this is a very special situation where the product of two vector is itself a vector. Okay, so this is how we represent the cross product of two vectors. Now we'll study the properties, characteristic of the cross product of vectors. So now, okay, there is one more situation here. If I have A vector here, this is my A vector, this is my B vector. Okay, these are my A and B vectors. A vector is like this, B vector is like that. Okay, then their cross product is perpendicular to plane of A and B. This is plane of A and B. Then the cross product will be either up or either down, since these two conditions are perpendicular conditions. So which one to take? Okay, this can also be A bar cross B bar, or this can also be A bar cross B bar. So which one is correct one? Which one is correct? Okay, this is decided by right hand thumb rule. There are two rules, right hand thumb rule and right handed screw rule. So I'll tell you the right hand thumb rule to decide the direction of cross product. Since there are two possible directions perpendicular to this particular plane. If this is my plane, okay, and my vectors are like this on this plane, then there are two possibilities. One is up and one is down, which are perpendicular to this plane. So which one is the correct direction of cross product? Since this cross product is a vector, it should have unique direction. So there are two possibilities. So which one is correct? So it is decided by right hand thumb rule. So how to decide it? If we now visualize this situation in space, these are again my vectors, first vector, second vector, like this. This is my A vector, this is my B vector. Okay, this is my A vector, this is my B vector. And if I rotate the first vector towards second, let me show you in this way. This is my A vector, this is my B vector. The first vector is rotated towards second vector, and the direction of rotation is given by the curled fingers of the right hand. Then the thumb shows the direction of, A bar cross B bar. So in this situation, if this is my A vector and this is my B vector inside the board, okay, then first vector is rotated towards second. Using my right hand thumb, I get this direction as the correct direction for A bar cross B bar. So this is not the correct direction, this one is correct direction. Now let us take one more example to understand this direction. Okay, let us say I have one vector on this board. Okay, now this board is our plane, and let us say this is P vector, which is in this board, and it is in this direction, this particular direction. And we have another vector, Q vector, which is in this direction. Okay, so what will be the direction of P bar cross Q bar? We have to find the direction of P bar cross Q bar. So if this is our plane, this is my first vector, this is my second vector, P bar cross Q bar, first vector cross second vector. So we rotate first vector towards the second vector like this, and we use our right hand fingers to rotate this, and the direction of thumb shows the direction of resultant vector. So the resultant vector P bar cross Q bar is in this direction. Now how to show such kind of vectors in this board, okay, or in our notebook? How to show this kind of vector which comes out of the board or out of our notebook or inside our notebook? So this vector is coming out of our notebook, so we show it by this kind of symbol. We draw a circle and put a dot in the center of the circle. This shows outward vector. Outward vector means a vector coming out of the board or out of your notebook. Outward vector. Okay, and if the same vector is inside the board, let us take another situation. I have another vector like X vector. Let us say X vector is this vector, and this is Y vector. This is X vector, this is Y vector, and I want to find direction of X vector cross Y vector. So now first vector is X vector and the second vector is Y vector. So rotate first vector towards second vector using your right hand. Rotate first vector towards second vector using your right hand, and the thumb will show the direction of resultant cross product. And if you look at my thumb, it is inside the board, so this vector is into the board. Its direction is into the board. Okay, its direction is into the board. So how to show this kind of direction? We draw a circle and put a cross. This cross shows the vector is moving inside the board, and this dot shows the vector is moving out of the board. In my case it is board, in your case it will be notebook. If you draw vector like this in the plane of notebook, and if you show dot in your notebook, it means that the vector is coming out of your notebook. If you put a cross, it means the vector is going inside of your notebook. Okay, so this is how we show the direction of vectors. Now let us consider the characteristic of this cross product. There are 5 to 6 characteristics in our book, so we'll consider each one by one. Okay, so this is how we represent or we understand the cross product of two vectors. Remember that cross product and dot product are completely different kind of product. We get different answers. When we do dot product, we get scalar answer. When we do cross product, we get a vector answer. So these are completely different kind of vectors. Now let us work out on the characteristics. Let us take the first property. We'll write characteristics of cross product. Okay, in our exams this question is asked for generally for 3 marks or 4 marks. Okay, so you have to write all the characteristics in your exams. Now let us take the first property. If you remember in dot product, if we change the sequence a bar dot b bar, and if we change the sequence becomes b bar dot a bar, the product answer of that product remains same. If I multiply this 2 into 3, this gives you 6, and if I multiply 3 into 2, this will also give you 6. So what is conclusion from this? The sequence of multiplication doesn't change the answer, but this is in case of our vector, this is for numbers. In case of our vectors, this is true for dot product only. If we consider cross product of vectors, then this a bar cross b bar is not equal to b bar cross a bar. Why this is not equal? Why this is not equal? Let us understand the situation. I have this vector a bar in this plane, in my plane of my hand, and another vector b bar in the same plane again, in plane of my hand, and cross product of this a bar and b bar, a bar cross b bar will be like this, a bar cross b bar. By using right hand thumb rule, a bar is rotated towards b bar and we get this direction. Now if I consider b bar cross a bar, b bar cross a bar, now my first vector is b bar then. So rotate first vector towards second vector using your right hand. Use right hand, rotate this second vector which was here towards first vector. So rotate the second vector towards first vector, and the thumb will show the direction of b bar cross a bar. So if you look at these two vectors, their magnitude is anyway ab sine theta. Magnitude will remain same since the theta is same, sine of theta is same. A and b vectors are having same magnitudes in both the situation. Okay, but the directions are opposite. What is meaning of this? These two vectors will have same length, same magnitude, but their directions are opposite, so we can say these are negative vectors. So here what we can write is a bar cross b bar is actually equal to minus of b bar cross a bar. So these are negative vectors of each other. Since they are opposite, they are negative vectors of each other. Is it clear? Is the first point clear to you? Now let us move to the second point. Now what is the second characteristic of cross product? This cross product obeys the distributive law. Cross product obeys the distributive law. The same law was obeyed in dot product also. So what is distributive law? If I have this kind of vectors, three vectors, a bar, b bar and c bar, and there is a bar cross b bar plus c bar, this kind of operation is there, then in normal multiplication what we do, we multiply this by this and this by this. This process is distributive law, so we will follow the same process here also, and it is valid here also. So a bar is multiplied by b bar, so this becomes a bar cross b bar plus a bar cross c bar plus a bar cross c bar. This is valid in case of cross product also and in case of dot product also. So this is our second characteristic, which is called distributive law. There is third characteristic where we consider the special cases. Special cases. What are special cases? We will consider different cases where theta is different. Okay, so let us consider special cases. Case number 1, let us say theta is 0. Let us say theta is 0. So if we look at our original formula, a bar cross b bar was ab sine theta into n cap. Look at this sine theta. If theta is 0, sine 0 is 0 anyway. So our cross product a bar cross b bar will have magnitude equal to 0, and obviously since our magnitude is 0, we can say that this vector, cross product of this vector, is a null vector. Okay, so we get a null vector as an answer in first case where theta is 0, sine 0 is 0, and that's why we get null vector as an answer. Now let us take second case, case number 2. Okay, this is case number 1. Let us take case number 2. if theta is let us say 90 degree. Okay, let us take 90 degree as theta. So sine 90 is 1. So what we get is a bar cross b bar equal to a b sine 90. Sine 90 becomes 1. So this will be a b n cap. Or we can say this magnitude is equal to a into b. This magnitude of a bar cross b bar is equal to ab. Remember that this part is magnitude, this part is magnitude, and this n cap is direction. Okay, unit vector gives us direction of a vector. Okay, and there is one more situation, case number 3. Case number 3 is when theta equal to 180 degree. Now if my theta is 180 degree, sine of 180, sine of 0 is 0, sine of 90 is 1, sine of 180 is 0 again. So again what we get, a bar cross b bar is having magnitude equal to 0. So these are the 3 specific conditions. Now let us think about the unit vectors. Let us think about the unit vectors. From this situation, let us consider the unit vectors. Our definition is a bar cross b bar is ab sine theta n cap. Okay, this is our definition, and if we consider the magnitude of a bar cross b bar, it is always equal to this part other than the n cap, so it is ab sine theta. Remember this part. Okay, so magnitude is always ab sine theta, and that n cap gives the direction. Now let us consider the situation if I cap cross I cap is considered. What is I cap? What is I cap? Let us consider I cap cross I cap. What is I cap? I cap is unit vector in the direction of x-axis. I cap is unit vector in the direction of x-axis. So I cross I. Since I is, let us say this is my x-axis. So my I cap is unit vector in this direction. In this this I cap is in this direction, which is x direction. Okay, so this is my I cap. Okay, and I cap cross I cap. So I have this I cap, I have another I cap, both are in same direction. Since I cap is in x direction, so the angle between I cap and I cap is 0. Okay, and if my angle is 0, then the cross product, as we know, the cross product is 0 if theta is 0. So we can write I cap cross I cap is 0. Similarly, j cap cross j cap is 0, and k cap cross k cap is also 0. You have to remember this result. This is important result. Okay, I cap cross I cap, j cap cross j cap, and k cap cross k cap is 0. So remember this result: I cross I, j cross j, k cross k. Unit vector cross product of unit vector is 0 with itself. Now let us consider one more situation: I cross j. What will be value of I cross j? If we consider I vector, let us say this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, coming towards you is my y-axis, towards right is x-axis, and I cross j. Okay, or let us say this is x and this is y. Okay, so I cross j. So I is along x, j is along y, and the angle between them is 90 degree. So we consider this case. A bar cross b bar is ab. So I cross j is magnitude of I, magnitude of j into sine of angle between them is 90, and the unit vector n cap is perpendicular to I and j. So which axis is perpendicular to x and y? We know that axis z is perpendicular to x and y, and that's why k cap is perpendicular to I and j. So we will write k cap as unit vector along z axis, or k cap is our n cap in this situation. So what we get is, this is 1, this is also 1, I and j, magnitude of I and j, since they are unit vector, their magnitude is 1. What about sine 90? Sine 90 is also 1. And this n cap is basically our k cap, since I and j are along x and y, and that's why the perpendicular to x and y is our z axis, and that's why we have taken k cap as our n cap. Okay, instead of n cap, which is a unit vector perpendicular to I and j, here we will take k cap as unit vector perpendicular to I and j. So what result we got is I cross j is equal to k. So in the same way, we can write j cross k equal to I, and k cross I is equal to j. So how to remember this? There is a technique, cyclic order technique. I have drawn a circle like this, and if we write I cap here, let us write j cap here, and let us write k cap here. So I cross j, if we go clockwise, I cross j becomes k. This is our first result. J cross k becomes I. This is our second result. K cross I becomes j. This is our third result. Okay, so you can remember this particular property simply by remembering this circle. Okay, the cyclic order. I into j is k, I cross j is k, j cross k is I, k cross I is j. And what if we reverse the order? Okay, if we reverse the order, j cross I, remember that when we change the sequence, there is minus sign. So j cross I will give you minus of k. Do you remember this situation where a bar cross b bar is minus of b bar cross a bar? So if I change this sequence, we get minus sign. So from this cyclic order, j cross I is minus k, I cross k is minus j, I cross k is minus j, and k cross j is minus I. So you can remember all these 3 plus 3, 6 conditions by just remembering this circle. If we go in the direction of this arrow or in clockwise direction, you will get this positive. If you go anti-clockwise, you will get negative things. Okay, negative products. So this is how the special cases are described. So this is our third property. Now let us consider the fourth property. Now if I have two vectors which are equal, my both vectors, first vector and second vector, is equal. So let me write the fifth property here. So if I have two vectors, property number, I think it is 1 2 3 4th. Okay, if I have p vector equal to q vector, I have two vectors p and q which are equal. Okay, then if p vector is equal to q vector, two vectors are equal, it means their directions are equal and their magnitude are equal. This means p is parallel, this is meaning of it, parallel to q, and p vector is parallel to q vector, and magnitude of p vector is equal to magnitude of q vector. This is what we know. Okay, so now since the vectors are parallel, what is angle between them? Theta is 0. Okay, and we know that if the vectors are parallel, then their cross product is always 0. So this will give you null vector. So if two vectors are equal, their cross product is 0. Okay, remember this condition. Now let us take one more condition, condition number 5. If my vector p vector is represented, now you can write a vector also, you can write p vector also. We will write p vector as px I cap plus py j cap plus pz k cap. Remember, I have taught you this particular condition in our resolution of vector. Any vector can be written as sum of two or more vectors which are along x, y and z direction. So these are rectangular component of vector. Another vector q vector can be written as qxi plus qyj plus qz k cap. So their cross product, if I do the cross product of these two, p bar cross q bar, cross product p bar cross q bar can be written as determinant I j k px py pz qx qy qz. This is how we write the cross product of two vectors. We'll study what this determinant is. I think it will be taught in maths, but again I'll just introduce what is this determinant here and how to solve this determinant. Okay, we have already solved some determinants of small size. This is 3 by 3, since there are 3 rows 3 columns, so this is 3 by 3 determinant. We have already solved 2 by 2 determinant in Cramer's rule in our 10th standard. Okay, so let me prove this. Okay, now to prove this, we will first understand what is determinant. Okay, we have learned the determinant in class 10. Let me revise the class 10th concept for you. If I have this kind of determinant, 2 minus 3 minus 1, and let us say it is 1. And how to solve this kind of determinant? We have a rule, we cross multiply this. So 2 into 1, this into this, minus this into this. So this is minus 3, this is minus 3 into minus 1. So what we get is 2 minus into minus will be plus, so this will be 3, and this minus will remain as it is. So 2 minus 3 is minus 1. So this is how we solve the determinant. Okay, so to practice this, solve this for me. Okay, solve this for the practice. Let us say this is 0, let us say 2 minus 4 1 3. Okay, now solve this one. Solve this one. Pause the video and solve this one. Okay, now let us check your answers. 2 into 3, what is our sequence? How to solve this determinant? Cross multiply this and then cross multiply this. So this will be 2 into 3 minus, cross multiply this, minus 4 into 1, minus 4 into 1. So 2 3s are 6, minus this will be minus 4, and minus of minus 4 will be plus 4. So this will be 6 plus 4 comes out to be 10. So our answer here is 10. Okay, this answer is 10. Fine. Now let us, now these are the situation where we have 2 rows and 2 columns. So these are 2 by 2 determinant. This kind of determinant are called 2 by 2 determinant. There are 2 rows and 2 columns, so total there are 4 elements. We can say that these are elements. So there are 4 elements. Now let us consider the bigger situation where we have more number of rows and more number of columns. Let us consider one more situation. 1 minus 2, 1 minus 2, 5, 2, 1, 0, 3, minus 1, 3. Okay, this is my determinant. And how to solve this kind of determinant? If you look at the situation, there are 3 rows, first row, second row, third row. This is minus 1, and there are 3 columns, first, second and third. So we have 3 rows, 3 columns. How to solve this kind of determinant is called 3 by 3 determinant. Okay, how to solve this 3 by 3 determinant? What we do, we consider, now let me tell you some more things. This is our first row, this is our first column. So if we consider this element lies on first row and first column. If I consider this element, it lies on first row and second column. If I consider this, it lies on second row and second column. If I consider this, it lies on third row and third column. This one lies on third row, first column. So these are rows, these are columns. Okay, so we can locate any element by knowing its row and column number. Fine. Now let us solve this one. So what we do to solve this kind of determinant, we write the first element, which is first row, first column, which is our 1, multiply it by determinant of remaining 4. If you look at my first element, it is here. Okay, so cover its row and column. It is on first row and first column. Cover the first row. Okay, cover this first row and cover this first column. What is left is these 4 are left. Okay, so write the determinant 1, 0, minus 1, 3. Okay, this is done with our first element. Now let us consider our second element. What is second element? It is minus 2. and while writing the second element we change the sign. Since it is -2, we write +2. If it was +2, then we'll write -2. So change the sign of second element. Remember to change the sign of second element. Okay, and now cover its row and column. So it is here, so cover its row and cover its column. So if we cover this part, what is left is 2 3 0 3. So write it in determinant 2 0 3 3. Okay, so this is my second element covered. Now consider the last element, third element. Consider the third element, +5. Don't change its sign. We have to change the sign of this middle element only. So 5, this is my last element, and cover its row and column. Since it is in third row and third column, so cover this row and this column. So if we cover this row and this column, we get 2 1 3 -1. So write this in determinant 2 1 3 -1. Now let us solve this. What we get is 1 into 3 is 3 minus 0, this becomes 0, plus 2, 2 into 3 minus this will be 0, 0 into 3 is 0, plus 5, 2 into -1 is -2, minus 3 into 1 is 3. So let us solve this. This comes out to be 3 1s are 3 plus 6 2s are 12 plus that minus 5 into 5. So this will be minus 25, and what we get is 12 plus 3 is 15, 15 minus 25 is minus 10. Okay, so this is how we find the determinant of numbers. Okay, this kind of determinant. So this is a 3 by 3. So for practice, now you can solve one more example, one more determinant here. Let me give you one more determinant, easy one. So solve this one. 1 minus, let us take 1 2 3 minus 1 0 1 0 1 2. Now solve this determinant. Pause the video and solve it. I'll wait for you, and then we'll discuss the answer. So pause the video now. Let us solve. Let us check your answer. So this is my first element. Write the first element and then cover its row and column. What we are left with is 0 1 1 2. Take the middle element, which is -2. Take its change its sign. If it is 2, write -2. If it is -2, write +2. Okay, so we have to change the sign of middle term. Then again, what is left is -1 1 0 2, -1 1 0 and 2, and then this last one 3 into this will be -1 0 0 and 1. Now let me solve it fast. So this will be 0 minus 1, this will be -2 minus 0 plus 3 minus 1 minus 0. So this will be -1 plus 4 minus 3. So this will be 4 minus 1 3, 3 minus 3 0. What we get here is 0. Our determinant answer is 0. Okay, so this is how we solve the determinants. Okay, so why I have taught you, since we have to prove this for cross product, we should know what is determinant, how to solve 3 by 3 determinant. Okay, so let us solve in the same way. Let us solve this one. Let us expand this one. Let us expand the cross product of P and Q. Okay, so we'll know, we'll understand what we have to prove here. Okay, so we'll find some equation that we have to prove. So let us expand this. Let us expand this. I cap, this is my first vector, into determinant of this P, covering the first row and first column. What we get is Py Pz, Qy Qz. Fine. Then middle term is we change the sign of middle term. So j, instead of j we'll write minus j. Then cover this column and this column, though this is second column and this is first row, second column is covered. Then what we get is px pz qx qz, and again the last one k cap into these 4 px py qx qy. This is how we expand this determinant. Okay, now let us solve this determinant. This is my I cap, cross multiply them, py qz minus pz qy. Okay, now take this j cap, px qz minus pz qx plus k cap, px qy minus py qx. This is how we expand this determinant. Now if I want to prove this, I can prove this and directly write this answer. Okay, so suppose doing our mathematical calculations, we arrive at this result. It means if our answer is this, if we go in reverse steps, we get this. Okay, so what we will do in our proof, we will prove this. Okay, and after this we will write directly, since this is expansion of this determinant, so after this step we will directly write that the answer is this. Okay, so in that way we will prove it. So this step is very important for us, so we'll write this step separately over there, and then we will use this step in our derivation. So I'll write this step here. Let me write the step here. Okay, so this is my step. This is only for our reference, so we'll write it somewhere here. I cap into py qz minus pz qy minus j cap into px qz minus pz qx plus k cap into px qy minus py qx. So I have written this only for our reference. So once we get this step in our answer, we will directly write this. So hence we have proved it. Okay, so this is how we will prove it. Now let us start with the proof. We have to prove this, so let us start with the proof. We have first vector, let proof. Let first vector is p bar equal to px I plus py j plus pzk. This is my first vector. Okay, this is my first vector. Q bar is qxi plus qyj plus qzk. This is my second vector. Okay, so p bar cross q bar, I'll write the first vector into second vector. So px I plus pyj plus pzk cross qxi. Let me write it a little smaller since there is no space here. P bar cross q bar can be written as pxi plus pyj plus pzk cross qxi plus qyj plus qzk. See what I have written in the first step. I have written this p vector cross this q vector. So only I have written the vectors here. Okay, there is no special step here. Now let us move forward. Now I have one bracket multiplied by other vector bracket. Okay, so what I will do, first term multiply by first term into second term, first term into third term. This is first term is done. Then second into first, second term into second into third. In the same way we will multiply the third term also. So let us multiply this first into first. So this will give you px qx I cross I. Remember this is cross product, so we have to write cross here, I cross I. So first into first is done, plus first into second, px qy first into second I cross j, okay, plus first into third, px qz I cross k. Fine. Now we have done with the first term multiplied by all the terms in second vector. Consider second term of the first vector. So this is py second into first. So py qx j cross I, okay, plus py qy j cross j plus second into third py plus py qz j cross k. Okay, so we have multiplied each of the second term by each of this term by the second term of the first vector. Now we'll multiply pz, this third term, by each of the term. So what we will get here is third term into first. So pz qx k cross I pz qy k cross j pz qz k cross k. Okay, this is how we will write the product. Now we have done something. Okay, we know this. What we know, the cross product of these unit vectors. Let us draw that cycle I, j and k. Okay, and if we go in this direction, then I into j is k. If we go in reverse, then we get the minus sign. Okay, so let us follow this rule. Okay, let us follow this rule. So I cross I, if we have I cross I, we know that I cross I is 0. Okay, since I and I are parallel vectors, so the angle between them is 0, right? So angle between them is 0, so sine 0 is 0, so this product is 0. I cross I is 0. Remember that we have written the property. I think it was fourth property, I cross I is 0, so this is 0. J cross j is also 0 and k cross k is also 0. So I have cut these three terms. Okay, I cross I, j cross j and k cross k are 0. So I can write reason here. Since I cross I equal to j cross j equal to k cross k equal to 0. Okay, so I have written the reason here, so I can cut these terms. What about this term I cross j? We know from the cyclic order I cross j is k. So in place of this term I can write k. I cross k, we are going reverse. I cross k will be minus j. So let us write all these things. Okay, so let us write all this in here. Okay, now let us write px into qy I cross j. So px into qy, in place of I cross j I will write k, so this will be k cap. This is my first term, px qz plus px qz I cross k. What is I cross k? It is minus j, so I'll write this minus here and j here. So this is my second term. Now what about third term? Third term is py. I can write it here also, py qx. Let us write it here, py qx, third term, py qx, third term, py qx j cross I. So we are going again in reverse. J cross I is minus k, so we'll write here minus k. Fine. So we have done with the first three terms. The fourth term is again 0. So now py qz plus py qz I cross k. I cross k is minus j. We are going reverse. So I cross k is minus j. So put here minus sign and j here. Fine. py qz j cross k. J cross k is I. Okay, what we were doing, okay, it was py qz j cross k. J cross k is I. J cross k is I, so we'll write plus I. Okay, once again let us check py qz j cross k. J cross k is I. Okay, fine. So we have done with this term. Next term is pzqx k cross I. What about k cross I? K cross I is minus j. So we will write k cross I is j. So we'll write this j. We are done with this term pzqx k cross I. K cross I was j. Fine. pzqy. The last term pzqy k cross j. K cross j. We are going reverse. K cross j. So this will be minus I. Minus of I. Okay. So are you getting these terms? Why this is k, this is minus j, and so on? We have used this cyclic or ordering sequence. Now let us take common terms. This is my I cap. So let us take I cap first. What is left in my bracket is pyqz, and here it is I here minus pzqy. It is I here. Fine. Now in my second term we always keep minus sign. Do you remember in determinant in our second term j cap we keep minus sign? So let us keep minus sign here, minus j cap. So let me write it in next line, minus j cap. Now we have taken minus j cap outside. What is left is pxqz, and again this minus sign is taken outside, so this term will become negative, minus pzqx. I am done with j, plus my third term is k. So k, we will take this px qy into k. K is taken out. This minus py qx into k. So if you look at this equation, if you compare this equation with our previous expansion, I p y qz minus pz qy, we are having this term minus j px qz minus pz qx. We are also getting this term, and the third term k cap px qy minus py qx. So we are getting all the terms. And what is the answer of this? Its answer is determinant of I j k, then px py pz, and qx qy qz, and hence we have proved. We have proved what was asked here. So this is how we proved it. Now students, there is one more important property, and it is property number 6. The property states that if my vectors are like this, p bar and q bar, and if they form a parallelogram, if they are adjacent sides of a parallelogram, okay, imagine that my first vector and the second vector is part of two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, okay, then cross product p bar cross q bar, if we take magnitude of this magnitude of cross product of these two vector having angle theta between them is area of this parallelogram. So this is our property number 6. Let us prove it. It is very easy to prove it. So let's prove. Now to prove this situation, I'll name this parallelogram. So this point is O. We'll follow our textbook for naming. This point is A. This is C. This is B. Okay, and we'll draw a perpendicular from B on this line, and this perpendicular point is point D. Okay, since this is perpendicular, this will be height of the parallelogram. Fine. So this is what is given in our textbook as a diagram. Fine. So we'll prove this area of this parallelogram. Which parallelogram? Area of parallelogram OACB. So it is equal to this. We have to prove this. Okay. So let us solve this. Let us find area of parallelogram OACB. So we know that area of parallelogram is base into height, base length into height. This is formula for area of a parallelogram. So what is base length? Base length is OA. And what is height? Height is BD. Now look at the diagram. OA is base, BD is height. Okay. What about base? The length of base is equal to magnitude of vector P. So we can write this as magnitude of vector P. Can we write this OA as magnitude of vector P? Yes, we can write it. What about BD? BD is my height H. BD is my height H. Now let us consider this triangle. Which triangle? Triangle O, B and D. Consider this triangle. This angle is theta. Okay. This length is Q, which is OB. It is magnitude of vector Q. This is H. So can we write sine theta equal to opposite side H upon OB? Can we write sine theta equal to H upon OB from this figure? Sine theta equal to opposite side upon hypotenuse. Okay. So from this we can write H equal to OB sine theta. Okay. So from triangle, we'll write here, from triangle, which triangle? From triangle OBD, H equal to OB sine theta. We'll put this. We can simply write mod of P vector as P. So instead of H, we will write OB sine theta. Now look at the diagram. What is OB? OB is my vector Q, magnitude of vector Q. So instead of OB, we can write P. Instead of OB, we can write Q, which is magnitude of vector Q. Magnitude of vector P is P. Magnitude of vector Q is Q. So I am writing, instead of P, we write P. Instead of OB, we write Q into sine theta. What is PQ sine theta? This is magnitude of cross product of A vector and Q vector. So from this we can conclude that area of parallelogram OACB is equal to PQ sine theta, which is equal to mod of magnitude of A bar cross B bar. So we have proved our relation. Instead of A bar cross B, it is magnitude of P vector cross Q vector. So here we have proved our property number 6. So if we have two vectors like this, and if we say that these two vectors are part of a parallelogram, okay, imagine the parallelogram, then the area of that parallelogram can be represented by magnitude of cross product of these two vectors. And from this we can say that area is a vector quantity. Since we are getting this result, since cross product is a vector quantity, it means that area is a vector quantity, and it's a very special result that we will use in our electrostatics topic. In our later section, we'll use this property that area is a vector quantity. So it's a very interesting result. Now I'll give you some homework. On page number 25 of our textbook, example number 2.7, 2.8 and 2.9. These examples are homework for you, and if you have any doubt, then you can post that doubt in the comment section, or we will discuss it in our doubt solving live sessions. Fine. So we'll stop here. We have covered all the properties of vectors. We have studied what are vectors, what are scalars, and then we have studied the addition, subtraction. Then we have studied two kinds of multiplication of vectors. We have studied the resolution of vectors, how to split a single vector into a number of vectors. And then we have done lots of numericals here. And now you solve the exercise. And if you have any kind of doubt, then you can post your doubt in comment section. I'll provide you the solution of that particular problem if you have any doubt in this session. Okay, now our vectors topic is complete, but still there is one more topic left in our lesson of mathematical physics, which is calculus. So in calculus we will discuss the derivatives, integration, we will study basics of function and basics of limits. Okay, so this is what we will cover in the next section. That's it for today. We'll meet in the next lecture. Till then, stay home, stay safe.